Hello and welcome to Zwift Race Place. I'm Kate Freeble, and today we're bringing you live coverage and commentary of the Sunday crash by Rhino Racing. This is the first official event in the series. We covered kind of the prologue to the series just last week here on the channel, and now we're back for more with race number 1. As you'll see down below, I left a chat. It'd be great if anybody watching right now would leave whichever category they think will win today's race in the chat. Just looking for some opinions out there today to maybe talk on. For those of you who don't know, this is a chase race style race, meaning our Ds will be let off first, our Cs after that, then our Bs and our As. Categories will be competing against each other to see which category crosses the line first. And just looking on Zwift Power here, it looks like the gaps will be 4 minutes to the Cs, the Bs 2 minutes after that, and the As just 1 minute after that. So it looks like the gaps were tightened up a little bit from last week. I think we reined back the Cs and maybe gave the Bs a minute of advantage there. So that should make for a closer competition than we had on last week's stream, and we should see some exciting contests within categories as well as the intercategory contest that will be happening. Anyway, first up, I just want to touch on the course we're doing today, which is 3 laps of the blanking on the name here, but this is the, give me a minute. Alright, well, I think, let's see. Alright, so I can't remember the name of this course, but you can see the elevation profile right there. So in terms of notes on this course, we're gonna start at the regular start banner in Watopia. It's basically 1 lap of the main island, but we're utilizing the new KOM bypass that Zwift added in a recent update. So we will not be doing the full Zwift KOM. We will, however, still be riding on the first portion of that KOM in Watopia, which you can see on the elevation profile here. That's that largest lump towards the finish. And something I'll touch on in just a couple minutes is that could be an interesting bouncing off point for an attack. Now, the official specs on this course are going to be, well, it's a 7.1 kilometer lap. That's 4.4 miles. And in total, we're going to be doing 21.3K or 13.2 miles. So it should be a good race, right around 45 minutes, I'd say, until the finish of our categories out there today. And then in terms of elevation, 73 meters or 240 feet per lap, and 219 meters or 720 feet in total. So relatively flat course, but we still do have that little bouncing off point for a possible attack before the finish there. Looks like I just saw Gordon Sloan in chat, says B tonight. I think that might mean that Gordon will be racing in B. Maybe if he wants to clarify that for us in the chat, because usually Gordon Sloan, our supreme leader here at Rhinos, the organizer of this event, along with a couple others, races in the C. He is a C rider, but I can actually check Zwift Power here and see where he's registered. Here we go, looking on Zwift Power right now. I'm not seeing Gordon registered in the Bs. Switching over to the Cs here. Oh, okay. I think I just, I see. Gordon clarified there, B for the win. So, that makes more sense. I kind of forgot I had asked that question. But, anyway, back to what I was saying before. I think that KOM could be an interesting bouncing off point for an attack if any riders can pull that off. Because, I know we've raced this race before in our Rhino v Rhino, which was kind of like a private version of this event before we went public. And riders definitely, they made it pretty close to the finish line after making an attack off of that little bump in the road there. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody can hold a gap if they do go for that little attack there, because otherwise this is largely a sprinter's course. But if you can make that little attack, that does favor the climbers there. Although personally, I think most of our categories will come down to a sprint tonight. But there's always the chance that we see one of those attacks. Let's see what else we have up here today. Oh, I did see one question in the Sunday Crash chat on Discord. Join us on Discord, by the way. That'll be in the event description. You can join your category on our Rhino Discord if you're interested in doing that. But anyway, the question I saw in the Sunday Crash chat was whether or not we were allowed to use power-ups tonight. And the answer to that is yes, as Gordon Sloan clarified, I believe, on there. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew power-ups were going to be enabled tonight. I thought that might be a helpful note to add before we begin. And speaking of beginnings, we're just about 2.5 minutes out from the start of the D race, so I'm going to go over some favorites real quick. Starting with the favorites for the Ds, our number 1 ranked rider in the Ds is Lee Welch from Rhino Racing, followed up by David Moores and Chris Bennett. Lee will have a good sprint tonight. He's definitely a strong racer. Moores will as well. I think Lee is a good pick for the win tonight, though. Lee Welch from Rhino Racing. So we'll have to be watching him. Plenty of other riders to be watching for in the Ds as well, though. I think we've got time to go over the C favorites here. We've got Gord Bross predicted for the win. I know, I think he opted out of our last ZRL race, saying that the Champs-Élysées sprint didn't really suit him. But I'd beg to differ with that. I think Gord Bross will be a big contender in today's sprint. If he's up for it. Then JB, Jonathan Bishop, predicted second, also for Rhino Racing. So 2 Rhino racers, actually top 3 top Rhino racers in there are all top. The top 3 predicted riders in the Cs are all Rhino racers, including JB and then Barry Collins as well. Barry's definitely a punchier rider. I could see him making an attack off that little bit of the KOM there. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for that. Also a great sprinter, so Barry could also do well in the sprint at the end. Moving up to Cat B now. I think I've got about 1 minute before the start of the Ds. Coco Cadence predicted first. Coco does not ride for any teams here on Zwift, but definitely pops up in a lot of events on Zwift. I've definitely covered quite a few events with Coco Cadence Racing before, and they're a really fast rider, so we'll have to watch out for them. Then Mason Butler from Vision predicted second. Vision, a prominent team. I don't know so much about the rider. I don't think I've ever covered a race with them before, but definitely somebody to watch out to. And then representing for the Rhinos in the 3rd ranked spot is David McKinley, it looks like. So we'll have to watch out for McKinley as well. Then in my final 30 seconds here, I'll go over the A's. We've got Michael Boardman from the World Elite Zwifters predicted first. Ian Mulligan from Absolute Fitness predicted second. And Lorenzo Rousseau from Team Foudre predicted third. So we'll have to watch the A race, see how that turns out. In terms of categories, like I said, let me know in the chat which category you think will win. And it's time to switch it over to the pens, where we're waiting for the start of this race with Patrick Operanta. There we go, the pens have just opened up. Switch it over here so you can get a little bit of a better view. I will be trying to use the hide the heads-up display mode when I can throughout today's race, but it makes it easier for me to have the leaderboard up, so hopefully we'll get to utilize that a little, but for the most part we'll have the leaderboards, minimap, etc. up. And I also did switch to metric, so we'll be in kilometers for tonight's race. Hopefully that's an appreciated change, because I know that's what a lot of our riders on the other side of the pond use. I'm here in the US, so usually I'm using miles, but I'm gonna try and use kilometers for tonight. Speaking of which, we're 2K into the event. They just passed under that first Zwift banner, and Patrick Operanta is already sitting in 2nd place, well, 3rd place here, but he's in the front group, riding for Rhino Racing. he was one of the fastest riders in last week's precursor to this official series. And just to touch on that series, this will be a 10-week event, I believe, put on by Rhino Racing, category v category chase race style, with tons of great competition within categories as well. Looks like Hopperanta is just dropping a draft power-up here in the front group. Sometimes a sign of struggling. They have gone out pretty hot here, 3.7 watts per kilo on the front. They're moving pretty fast for a D race. We'll just have to see if they end up slowing down. They're going to come up over this little rise here, 3% gradient right now, and then they're going to take a left through the twisties and the bumps on the road, head out to through the Italian villas, take a left to the base of the reverse KOM. Maybe that's the forward I believe that's the reverse KOM actually. And then from there they're gonna take a left, or actually take a right onto the KOM. They'll climb that for a little while, and then they'll use the KOM bypass, which is roughly a quarter of the way up the KOM. But you do still hit some of the steepest spots on that side of the climb before you hit the KOM bypass, and that's a descent which pops you back in on the main descent on the other side of the KOM not long before the finish line, as we saw on our route map earlier. Looks like Hopperant had just been dropped off of the front group by about a second, so we'll move up back into this front group here. Digrard looks like he's the rider on the front right now. Chris Bennett is one of our top-ranked riders. I'm not seeing him up here. There we go, Lee Welch, though. That's definitely a rider, the top-ranked rider in the D-Race, still in this front group. He's struggling a little, though. It looks like he's just on the back, but this group should come back together fairly soon. I'm not sure how many of these riders fairly soon. I'm just going to have to check on the gaps here. I believe we might be having some issues. There we go. We are back. Sorry about that. But anyway, our C race going off 4 minutes after the D's. That means that when the elapsed time clock of this D race here hits 4 minutes, we're going to be jumping back in with the C's to see how they're doing. But right now it's all full coverage with the D's on the road. They're just hitting this little rise. I believe this rise is the predecessor to the largest little descent of this section in the twisties. You see it gets up to 8% gradient here. This is a possibility. I know I've raced this course a couple times before, and I've launched an attack into the twisties before. That one survived till about the last roughly 1,000 meters to the finish line, so roughly until the last 1,000 meters leading into the finish line. It's a tough course to make a lasting attack on, just because there are so many places for the pack to catch. But from a small group like this, I think we're looking at maybe 7 riders here. See if we can go up above. Looks like this is a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 riders right now, just passing through the sprint under the bridge here. Sorry, on the bridge here. So it's definitely possible to make an attack from this group. If you can break through with only a group of 7 chasing behind, you have a chance, especially if some of these riders end up getting dropped. A. Gomez Cardison, I believe we saw him out here in the D's last week, but I believe our C's are out on course now, and we'll try and catch up with them. See what they're doing out on course. See, we're going to try and jump in with Ian Radar from the Rhinos. Looks like he's in this front group here, 2% gradient, as they're heading up this little climb. This is the first climb into the twisties. We just saw our D's go over this. Couple of feather power-ups being dropped there. I mentioned earlier, power-ups will be allowed to be used during today's race. As you can see, it looks like Radar dropping off the back a little, so we'll see if we can move up a little farther. Here is M. Tandy. Tandy was a lot of people's favorite in the chat last week for the win. We'll see how he performs today. Also, I do want to remind you, before we get too far into the race, I tend to get carried away, but if you are enjoying the stream, it would be a huge help to me in this Zwift Race Place if you wouldn't mind subscribing, liking the video, all that jazz. Anyway, back to the race here. Now in with Tim Moody, another favorite in last week's race. I see Kruger up here as well. E. Kruger, he was active in the Sunday Crash chat on Discord. As I've mentioned, join us on Discord if you're interested as one of our racers, either this week or next week. I believe the link is in the race description. But I think Kruger with a top 5 finish last week in the C's, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do. A couple other riders, looking at Gareth Rogers here, Kim Homer, both Rhinos I've ridden with before. I know they'll do a great job. Gordon Brost, our #1 favorite, and I saw an SDW rider up here as well in this front group. I know Ollie Fussell and his dad Julian Fussell were watching us last week on our stream here. So maybe some more SDW riders getting into the fray. I forgot to mention Ollie and Julian both ride for SDW, which was the correlation there. 10% gradient for a minute. That might be the steepest spot on the course, although I do believe it gets pretty steep on the first section of the KOM later on in today's race, but definitely not a sustained gradient. As you saw before, this was kind of the little kicker before we descend into the sprint section. This would be a possible place to get some points if we had points on offer for the sprint, which I don't believe we do in today's race. Gordon can clarify that for me in the chat, maybe, but I'm pretty sure we don't have points on offer. There we go, JB Jonathan Bishop. Not surprised to see him at the front. He was doing really well last week. Some speculation that maybe he was sick, but he still performed exceptionally. So hopefully we'll see more good things from him today. And I believe, taking a look at the gaps here between categories, I think our Bs departed just 2 minutes after our Cs, so we may be able to jump in on course with them right now as well. See if I can head back with those Bs. Give me a minute here. We are, this is Welshie. I jumped in with one of our drop C riders by mistake. Apologize for that, but we should be able to head back through the leaderboard here, see if we can catch up with our front B pack. And here you go. Looks like that's D. McKinley on the front from Rhino Racing. McKinley, our 3rd highest ranked rider in the Bs currently. One of our favorites for today's win. They're just hitting this little incline here as well. We just saw our Cs go through here not that long ago. They just passed over the sprint. So looks like our Bs are bearing down fast, and soon enough we will have the live gaps from our Zwift Power live data, assuming that's working today. That's not always a given. And looks like our A's are out on course today as well, so I'm going to see if I can hop on over to Zwift Power and get those live gaps for you. Right. Looks like Zwift Power is... not sure if this is down or just taking a little while to load. Hopefully it's the latter, because this is where we get most of our gaps, but I think I can still see here. Andy Brown, our lead C, it looks like he is currently 3 minutes and 21 seconds behind our lead D rider. So the gap from C's to D's will be 3 minutes and now 17 seconds. Looking at B's to C's, I have to do a little bit of math here, but that looks to be roughly 2 minutes, actually just under 2 minutes now. So all categories making some headway here, and our A's out on course now as well. And the gap from A's to B's, that's gonna be roughly 1 minute and 22 seconds. So they've lost a little ground in the start here, but that's not surprising. Usually, in the moments after riders a category gets out on course, they're not immediately going to start closing on the category ahead. So I wouldn't be too worried about the A's. Still a lot of racing to go. Back in here, see Coco Cadence, our #1 ranked rider in the B's. And I think our D's are going to be hitting the KOM pretty soon, so we're going to try and jump up with them right now. Actually, first stopping off with Jonathan Bishop in our C category right here. Kruger still in this front group, and Tim Moody as well. 3 favorites today in our C race. We can just jump up through the leaderboard here to get to our D's, and they've hit the KOM. Of course, they're going to be going over that KOM bypass, and it looks like our D is already through the KOM bypass and out into the main roads of Watopia, looks like Lee Welch, that's the first rider I'm recognizing up here in the front, but one of these riders ahead of him could be registered on Zwift Power. I'm going to take a quick look at Zwift Power right now. There we go, Pino Ferrari just got confirmation that Pino Ferrari is going to be our Zwift Power, one of our Zwift Power registered riders, the leading Zwift Power registered rider currently. And looks like Bevan Brabant is also registered on Zwift Power. But Ferrari currently leading out this pack here. Whoops, just had a little issue with Zwift, but we're back now. Anyway, Ferrari looks like he's going to be leading in the D race currently, dropping a van power-up, although he doesn't have anyone to draft off of right now. He's just pulling off the front of this group. If he could make an attack out here on today's course, that would definitely be interesting. Just checking Zwift Power. Alright, well, it looks like Pino Ferrari is actually he's a B registered in the D category. So, a sandbagger, so I'm assuming we can disregard him. Bart Van Brabant also sandbagging, he's in the C's, and Stefan Morris also sandbagging, he's also a C. So all three of those riders, Morris, Brabant, and Ferrari, I guess we can disregard all of them because they're all sandbagging. So John Paul would be our next rider up here, and he's riding with Lee Welch. So I guess Lee Welch and John Paul are our lead D group on the road currently because I don't think we're tolerating sandbaggers out there today. Yeah. Jordan just clarified in chat Pino B. So looks like that's it's unfortunate that riders sandbag like that. And Gordon also saying no primes if that was the question. Wasn't a question. I was pretty sure about that, but thanks for the clarification. Cause it's always good to double check with our race leader, I guess you could call him, race organizer. Anyway, let's see if we can jump back with our A's, because I believe they're going to be coming over the KOM pretty soon here. Okay, here we are with M. Stam sitting in 50th place, but he dropped us off right near this front group of A's, so let's see what they're up to. We haven't jumped in with the A's yet. Jay Torres leading them out. Lundqvist, he is a top-ranked rider in the A's, and I know for sure he's registered on Zwift Power as a Swedish Zwifter. Boardman from World Elite Zwifters taking up second wheel. John Peel, sorry, I'm not sure if that's John Peel, but Jay Peel from the Rhinos coming across the gap as well. 7.7 on the front from Boardman, and he's flying up this first section of KOM. 10% gradient. He's giving the our other A's a run for their money. Peel coming across the gap here as well. He's dropping Lundqvist. This is an exciting race on the KOM here. Our first little breakaway seems to be taking place with Boardman off the front. He's got about a second to Peel, and it looks like Nielsen from the Fusion ECT also taking chase. We can see Boardman just up ahead in that blue and yellow, and they have now made it to the bypass. This will be this will lead in, catch back up with the descent on the other side of the KOM. Peel coming across there. So these are your three Zwifters currently leading out this race. Let's see, how's Trivetti doing? A Rhino rider here out there today. Just waiting for the update on placing. And there we go, 37th for Trivetti. Shout out to him. Already 53 seconds. Back from these riders, though, they are moving super fast, super tuck into the descent, negative 8% gradient. Lundqvist just off the back here. Perfect super tuck there. Looking ahead, a couple other riders. So, looks like Peel, Boardman, Nielsen, Peel hitting the ground hard. Cardoso is leading the chase behind with Lucchesi, but these riders now have roughly 2 to 3 seconds. So, Lundqvist, Peel, and Boardman, they're going for a little breakaway out there today. We'll see if the other A's can chase it down. And in terms of gaps, looking on Zwift Power now, see if we've gotten any gaps in yet. Nope, it looks like our gaps there are still having a hard time. Reload Zwift Power, see if that does anything, but it looks like Zwift Power is unfortunately down when it comes to gaps today. I can get live placing though, so hopefully that'll help out. Looks like the gap right now, 2 minutes from our leading C, Tim Moody, to our leading D's, Lee Welch and John Paul. So 2 minutes. Our C's have closed down quite a bit of time. I believe that means they've closed down 2 minutes already. I think our C's are going to be overtaking the D's pretty soon. And that's largely due to the fact that John Paul and Lee Welch don't really have any allies out there. They're kind of sitting in no man's land currently in today's race. So that gap, unsurprising that it's coming down fast. Then looking at the gap from our B's to our C's, that gap appears to be, well, let's see. That appears to be just over a minute now, so our B's as well have closed quite a bit of ground. Now going to the final test here, it looks like Cardoso, I think we might have had a catch over here in the A race. Nielsen still leading, Lundqvist, but the rest of our A's have come back 8K in, and it's all back together in the A race. But anyway, they are just 56 seconds behind our B's. So very close in all categories. Our A's made a little bit of progress, but they only had a minute to close. So 4 seconds is a sizable amount considering. And then our other categories have all made progress. Our D's are the ones who are really in trouble right now, because I have the feeling they're going to be overtaken by our C's very shortly. And speaking of our C's and D's, let's hop in with one of those categories, see what's going on farther up in today's race. Stopping off with Kim Homer from the Rhinos, see how she is doing. Looks like 28th place in the C category, one of our female riders out on course. Moving up farther, looks like those dropped C riders just got overtaken by our lead group of B's. Currently being led by, trying to stay up here in the front, A. Warren from No Pins. He is currently in 5th in the B race and leading by about 2 seconds. So we've had a little break in the B race, but moving farther up through the categories, let's see what's happening with our C's. Schneider, Collins, Tandy. Tandy should be up here towards the front. I see Patrick Hopperante just 37 seconds up on the leaderboard there. Alright, here we are with Tandy. He's sitting in 5th. Barry Collins up here as well. Gordon Brost still in the front group, our #1 favorite in the C race today. Brost leading them out, currently taking a pull on the front. He may be our fastest rider predicted for the win here, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be taking pulls on the front, working for the C's. Really good sportsmanship there from Gord Brost. Moving farther up, here we go with John Paul and Lee Welch. They're just about, it's hard to tell, but looks like they're about a minute and 20 seconds ish away from our lead C's out there today. But John Paul and Lee Welch, I have a feeling they're going to be swept up pretty soon, because they are 2 lone riders working against a large pack of C's out there today. And this will be, I believe, their second pass over the KOM. Our total distance for today is going to be 21.3K. They've just hit 11.7. So they'll take this pass over the KOM and proceed on to their last lap. I don't know if I've mentioned, but 3 laps out there today of this course, which I'm still blanking on the name of. But we went over that earlier on in the pre-show. We start on the main island. Then basically it's a lap of the main island utilizing the KOM bypass, which we're just about to get our second look at here. We saw the A's go over the KOM. Time to see if there's any stir-ups within this very small lead D group. John Paul and Lee Welch from the Rhinos, both working really hard here and doing a valiant effort to try and stay away from those C's. I think just prolonging the inevitable here, though, because those C's, they're going to be working hard to make the catch. Lee Welch pulling away by about 4 meters here. Let's see what he can do on the KOM. Still only 3% gradient. We really get into the thick of it just up ahead. See if we can see that on the road. Zoom out here. hide the display for just a minute, and you can see that's where it really curves up. Right around that right-hand bend, coming back, here we go, 5% gradient, the KOM is starting, and Welch now has a 1 second lead on John Paul. Just looking now, looks like John Paul not too far behind, he's pushing hard, but now 2 seconds from Welch to John Paul. Lee Welch gonna try and do this alone. It's a really great effort from Welch, and it could get him the win out there today. The road really curving up, 10% gradient. John Paul's hitting it though, 5 watts per kilo. Welch pushing it up over 4 consistently, and the gap now down to 1 second. Looks like John Paul's going to close that gap down. Now 0 seconds, they're just coming in. John Paul looks like he's passing Welch here. Or just sitting on the wheels. They're back together now. And we see Gord Brost on the leaderboard in the distance, 35 seconds down. Let's jump in with those riders. JB, Jonathan Bishop coming to the front here. I think we can see our Ds on the mini-map. Maybe, yep. Those are our Ds just coming around that corner there. Our leading Ds. They're just about to exit our view on the minimap. But anyway, in the C race, JB really pushing the pace here. 4.9 watts per kilos. Schneider and Box are following. We have our SDW rider here. E. Wybrow, he is up here as well. A lot of riders managing to follow this attack. Kruger staying on the pace. And Kruger, one of our Rhino riders. Great view of the statues there for a minute. Coming back down to earth though. Looks like some riders pulling off the front. Kruger is in trouble because Box now moving to the front. We've still got Wybrow from the SDW Skeeters. He's managed to follow this attack in the yellow and black. They're going to take a left onto the KOM bypass here, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's back together by the banner. These attacks are, they're good efforts, but I don't think anything large enough to last yet. It looks like Gord Brost might have been put in trouble by that attack, though. Moving back on the leaderboard, where is he? 6 seconds down, it looks like. Maybe more to our leaders. So Gord Brost gonna have to do a little bit of chasing. Hopefully he can catch back up on this downhill. Morgan from Rhino Racing also put on the back foot. We still have a couple Rhinos in this front group. Kruger at the front still. And our riders from Black Rebel Bicycle Club, SDW up here as well. They're all leading in this front group. We've got a Super Tuck now from Wybrow. They're flying down this descent. See if we can catch up with our Bs. And it looks like Coco Cadence here is the first rider off the bypass. Cadence, looks like they have gone solo. I believe Coco Cadence is a male rider, although it can be a little hard to tell just from avatar alone here. Here we go, Coco Cadence coming around the corner here. We can see the pursuers in the distance, 2 seconds back to Gosling and Schultz. Hillman, James, Butler from Vision, they're all chasing down Coco Cadence right now. And there we go, Coco Cadence rounding the corner, off the descent. Looks like this may come back together as Gosling is chasing hard at 6.4 watts per kilos. Some big numbers from our Bs out there today. There we go. The Bs over the KOM. And let's see if we can head back with our A's. They should be just coming through here as well. Here we go, Nielsen from Fusion, etc. Lundqvist still up here as well. Peel from Rhino. Lorenzo Ace. Looks like those are our lead riders right now. And go to the overhead view. Maybe a little more zoomed in than that. Looks like it is just these four currently. Lorenzo and Ace are off the back right now. So it's Peel, Boardman, Lundqvist, and Nielsen. The riders at the front of your A race right now, and they're making fast work. K DeVette, I believe, is in our lead B pack, and that gap now down to 20 seconds. So they're making quick work of this course as they start in their third lap here. We'll have to jump in with our Ds in just a minute because they're going to be the next category to finish, possibly. Although our Cs have been making a lot of progress, so we might want to catch that catch. There, let's jump in with Gordon Sloan for a minute. Our leader, our race organizer, and our Rhino Supreme leader. Looks like he's currently in the twisties. That's a nice shot of the twisties there. But we don't want to miss the finish, so moving up through the riders. Looks like this is going to be... I think we just came full circle here, so I'm going to have to search for our rider here. Jumping in with the front of... Try and jump in with Welch here. Although for now, actually, let's take a look at our C's. JB Jonathan Bishop, not having the option to fan view him. So I don't know. I don't think our front categories have finished up quite yet. Trying to move through the front here. Jay Tandy from the Rhino, let's see where he is out on course. He's currently 26th place. There's Andy Ellis. Moving up a little farther, Solomonson, he's in 22nd. See if we can... Here, I believe this is our lead group of Bs. There we go, Gord Brost. So we're moving up towards the leaders of our C race now. Looks like Gord Brost has been put on the back foot. And it's now Wybrow from the SDW Skeeters, Kruger, and Tandy, some of our main contenders in the C race currently. Taking a look up ahead, it looks like they may have caught Lee Welch. Checking on Zwift Power for that now. And it looks like John Paul and Lee Welch still remaining ahead of our lead C's according to Zwift Power, but we'll see what happens after our next update here. And just going to check the companion app here, see what's up with that, see if we can get a location. Here we go, back in with Dan Box now. He was leading before. See what he can do in just a few minutes as we're coming into the sprint pretty soon. Alright, I'm not having a hard time getting a location on Lee Welch and John Paul, but I believe they might have been caught at some point in here. See if we can move back through. There we go. Lee Welch 13 seconds off the back of our lead C group right now. That's a big development because our C's are now in the lead and will be with this category all the way into the finish. Because I think it's going to be close. We'll have to see what the B's can do. We saw before, as we were moving up through the categories, our B's are not far behind, but our C is currently leading the race here. L. Davis now. And it looks like the gap from B's to C's is just about 30 seconds. See if we can zoom out on the mini-map, and I think we have eyes on our lead B group. They just passed through the sprint banner there. So they'll be chasing in hot pursuit for our lead C's right now. Here's Gordon Sloan. Looks like he might be about to get lapped by our lead C's. But still putting in the miles nevertheless. That's what counts. Oh, Gordon just let me know in the chat. Not just, I can't see the timing on that actually. But Gordon says, laugh out loud, I'm sick. So, best of luck, Gordon. I think you're getting pretty close to the finish now. And Lee was caught. Yeah, we just saw that. I always seem to check the chat too late. You all know what's going on before I do. Whoops. Here we are back with our B's, Coco Cadence now. This is the rider leading out in the B group. Liam Dunn from TFC. See him there as well. But it looks like a catch on the B's by the A's. Lundqvist, he's just coming through the front group of B's here. That means it's between our A's and C's now. A's have caught B's, and they're moving on towards the C's, who are just a little bit farther up ahead. Roughly 20 seconds? It's hard to determine here. We'll see if we can see those A's in the minimap. Zoom out here, and they're coming. They just passed through the Italian villas. Our C's, on the other hand, are getting close to the KOM. It's going to be a tight race between C's and A's, but if A's can catch them, well, if A's can get, they're at 20 seconds now, so I'd say my money is on the A's currently. They've been working really well together. I saw some chats going earlier trying to get some cooperation from riders in the A group. Our C's, on the other hand, have quite the numbers, but I don't know. I think our A's are moving really fast, and you can see a chasing group out there right now. I'm not sure. Let's check in. I believe those are all just dropped C riders, although there's an A on the leaderboard. Lorenzo leading the charge with our A's. You can see him on the minimap now. That's the group of B's and A's just behind our C's right now, and our B's might catch as well. It's going to be a race for second place as well as for first. All categories converging right now. There we go. Our B's and A's have just made the catch. Well, it's in progress anyway. See if we can go to the front view here. Excuse me. There we go. The categories are merging, and we can see Peel now. Peel on the leaderboard. Try and jump in with one of our A's, because those are going to be the riders to watch out for as we hit the KOM. This could not have been timed more perfectly. A conversion of 3 categories right as we hit the KOM. This makes for some exciting racing out there. And Jay Peel keeping it up on the front. See, S. Rogers looks like he's a dropped rider, but Lorenzo, he's now on the front for our A's. Checking on Zwift Power real quick. Yup, Gordon says looks like an A-B group together, and he is right. I'm not seeing Lorenzo on Zwift Power, so I think we can ignore him. But you can never be too sure. Either way, looks like Boardman has now taken the lead. Boardman for the World Elite Swifters into first place with 10 watts per kilo. Wow, this is an exciting race. Boardman from the World Elite Swifters leading it out for the category win as well as the individual win out there today. 10% gradient and Boardman pushing hard. 10.8 watts per kilo. That's a high number to sustain for this long. 6 watts per kilo now. And it looks like Lundqvist, he's going to be the rider trying to come across in second. Coco Cadence pushing hard here as well. Maybe time to upgrade to A for Coco, because they're pushing really hard on the front here as well. But Boardman maintaining a 2-second lead on Lundqvist as they go into the descent on the other side of the bypass now. Or right into the bypass now. They'll come out on the other side in just a couple moments. We can see the regular black tarmac now. That marks the beginning of the final descent into the finish. Here we go. It looks like it's Boardman, Lundqvist, Lorenzo up there as well, but we can disregard him, I believe. Coco Cadence leading out the B's right now, 5 seconds behind Boardman, but it's Boardman from the World Elite Swifters. He was predicted first on Zwift Power, and it looks like the Zwift Power rankings has gotten it right this time, because Boardman has put in a big attack and now heading in fast for the finish. Taking a breath here for a minute, because we are now onto the flats, and that means that anything can happen. That lead that Boardman just had on the KOM could evaporate instantly, and it looks like Nielsen and Lundqvist, Lorenzo in there as well. They're chasing down hard. Coco Cadence coming through. If Cadence can beat our A's in a sprint, then the B's take the win out there today. Coco Cadence just coming through that lead group of A's. It's now Cadence, Boardman, Lorenzo, Nielsen, and Lundqvist just 2 seconds back. These riders all contesting for the win right now. Coco Cadence with a sustained 5.2 watts per kilo. Quite impressive for a B racer. Boardman right on the wheel, and it looks like Lorenzo has launched a sprint as well. We can ignore that for now. Nielsen just 3 seconds back at 15 watts per kilo. 15 watts per kilo sprint from Nielsen, and I believe he'll be blowing by pretty soon. There we go. It looks like Nielsen onto the front. This is going to be Nielsen from Fusion Etc. for the win. Boardman in third, Lundqvist second. Moving back, it looks like Coco Cadence for the win in the B's. Moving back through the categories, some C's just came across there. Didn't quite catch that C finish, but I think it looks like that was Nielsen for the win in our A's, and then Cadence for the win in the B's. We'll have confirmation on all that in just a minute. See if we can catch up with Lee Welch from Rhino Racing now. He's just coming off of the bypass. And see, Lee Welch currently sitting in 7th. I'm looking for John Paul, and I'm not. There he is, 18 seconds back, so it looks like Lee Welch. But Boxdale from the Rhinos, he is registered on Zwift Power just 9 seconds back. So that's going to be Welch's main competition here. Super Tuck on this negative 8% gradient, and we're just waiting for confirmation on the official results. As Lee Welch coming in, I believe he'll be able to take the victory in the D's, because Boxdale still 9 seconds back coming to this flat here. Very exciting finish. 3 categories at once. And it looks like the A's got the win, followed by the B's and then the C's. Nielsen for the win in the A category. I believe it was Lundqvist second, Boardman third, although those two could be switched. And then Coco Cadence for the win in the B's. Our C's, we're still awaiting results on that. And now Lee Welch looks like he's going to finish out in first for our D's. Going over to official results now. And well, it looks like Pino Ferrari is actually the rider that finished first. The B racing in the D's, but we can ignore that. So our first finisher, Simon Nielsen from Fusion, etc. He takes second. Matthias Lundqvist from the Swedish Zwifter squad in second, and Michael Boardman third with World Elite Swifters. So Nielsen, Lundqvist, Boardman first, second, third for our A's. Then it went Coco Cadence, Mason Butler, and PJ Rabis. Those were the 3 riders who came across in the top 3 for our B's. John Peel, the A rider, he finished up in 4th for the Rhinos. Our first A Rhino across the line. There you go, Lee Welch just won our D race there. Impressive ride by him. And I'm going to switch it back over so we can take a look at the results here real quick. I see Gordon left me a good luck in the chat there, as the end was going to be busy, and he was indeed right. But anyway, finishing up the results here, Peel in 4th, as I just mentioned. Dan Box, he took first in the C race. We stopped on him a couple times. He wasn't one of our official favorites, but he did make it into that top spot. Congrats to Dan Box. Luke Davis for the Black Rebel Bicycle Club, he took second. Ed Wybrow for the SDW squad in 3rd. Then we had Eric Kruger in 4th, representing for the Rhinos in our C race. After that, still awaiting confirmation on our official finish concerning the D race, but Lee Welch, we just saw him come across the line in 1st. And aside from Pino Ferrari, who will be disqualified as he is a B racing in the D race, looks like Lee Welch for the win. Still haven't gotten that confirmed, but Lee Welch for the unofficial win, I guess I should say. David McKinley says, didn't stand a chance, rest day long overdue. David McKinley still did very well out there today. And, no problem, Gordon. Happy to help out. Alright. Let's see here real quick. Still no confirmed results on the D race. I'll stick around until we do get that confirmed result for Lee Welch. Although, it looks like a couple riders, I don't know. Just gonna have to wait on that. Anyway, before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the Zwift Race Place and like this live stream if you enjoyed. If you want to let me know in the chat whether or not you raced or you depart, or if you want to stick around, see what happened with the D race in terms of official results. Although I think Lee Welch for the win there. Still waiting for that to be solidified. And I was wrong. It looks like Bartman Brabant. Okay, sorry. He's a C, so he will not count. Even Morris also not count. So yes, there we go. Lee Welch, our official winner in the D race. That gives you the final winners as Simon Nielsen for the A's, Coco Cadence for the B's, Dan Box for the C's, and Lee Welch for the D's. Our categories also finished in the perfect order, A, B, C, and D, in terms of category v category competition. So, that's today's race. Hope you enjoyed. As I said, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And, thank you, Dave McKinley. Alright, hopefully we'll see you next week here on the Zwift Race Place. Have a nice night, everybody.